Welcome. We believe that listening is the most natural way to learn a foreign language. On this channel we will publish conversations between two people each time on a different topic so that you can improve your English without boring grammatical rules. In order for the brain to absorb the language as much as possible and to automatically think and speak in English, it is recommended to listen to each episode several times at a distance of days. If you find these podcasts useful, we would be grateful if you would subscribe to the channel and like. Enjoy.
All right, let's dive into something I think we all want more of. Happy and lasting relationships.
Yes. A timeless topic.
And to guide us, we've got this fascinating Italian article, The 5.1 Rule for Happy Couples.
Catchy title.
It really is. And it promises to reveal why some relationships just, well, they work, while others fizzle.
The magic ratio for relationship success, they call it.
I know, right? And the best part, it's not just some feel-good advice, this deep dive. It's rooted in actual research.
Decades of it, in fact. Fascinating stuff. It really moves beyond those simplistic tips.
Right, like do this and you'll be happy. This one gets into the nitty-gritty.
Quantifiable data. Real couples studied for years.
Okay, so, drum roll. The magic ratio is 5 to 1.
5 to 1.
5 positive interactions for every negative one.
Sounds simple, doesn't it?
Deceptively so. But think about it. When you're arguing, negativity just explodes. This ratio, it's like a reminder.
To proactively build up those good vibes.
Exactly, like a savings account for your relationship.
So when things get rough, you've got that cushion.
You hit the nail on the head. Now, the research behind this, it goes way back.
Psychologists Gottman and Levinson, back in the 70s.
They didn't just use questionnaires either.
No, they observed real couples in the moment.
And this 5.1, it predicted relationship success like nothing else.
Fascinating. So it's not about never arguing.
Nope. It's about making sure the positive outweighs the negative consistently. Now, this article, it gets even better. It gives us 8 ways to boost those positive interactions.
Let's hear them.
Okay, first up, showing interest. Sounds basic, right?
Sure.
But the article emphasizes truly listening when your partner's upset. I gotta admit, I struggle with that, especially during arguments. I get defensive.
It's a common struggle, really. The key is shifting your focus. Instead of defending, try to genuinely understand. Why are they upset? What's at the core of it all?
So even if I don't agree, I validate their experience.
Exactly. It's acknowledging their feelings, building that connection.
Even in the middle of a disagreement. Makes sense. Okay, next, expressing affection. You know, I actually did this recently. We were arguing, and I just made a joke.
A joke.
A silly one. It totally broke the tension. We both laughed, and it was...
That's the power of humor. It reduces stress.
Right. And it reminds us, hey, we're a team here.
Teamwork. Love it. Now, speaking of teams, the article mentions small gestures, a hug, a note, little things.
The kind we often overlook. But they mean a lot.
It's amazing, right? Constant reminders of love.
Little deposits in that relationship bank account.
Cultivating a culture of appreciation.
Reminds me of my grandma. Every morning she'd leave a note for my grandpa on his coffee mug. Always something sweet. Have a great day, love you. So small, but it meant the world to him.
Beautiful example. Those little things, over time, they create a foundation, a warmth that helps get through the rough patches.
It's the thought that counts, right? Okay, this next one intrigues me. Intentional appreciation.
Yes. It's about actively noticing your partner's good qualities.
How's that different from just appreciating them?
Think of it as a conscious effort. It ties into what's called the cushioning effect.
Cushioning effect.
By focusing on those strengths, you're less likely to jump to negativity during conflicts.
So I'm building up this mental reserve.
Exactly. It counterbalances the negative, almost like building immunity.
I like that. Okay, number 5 is finding common ground. Seems pretty straightforward. Even when arguing, find points of agreement.
Simple, but often forgotten in the heat of the moment. It's about reminding yourselves of those shared values.
Shared values, huh?
Let's say you're fighting about money. Instead of focusing on who spends what, shift to your shared desire for financial security.
So even if we disagree on the how, we're united by the why, our vision for the future.
Exactly. That shared ground, it becomes a bridge.
To find solutions that work for both. Okay, empathy and apologies. Seems like a no-brainer.
It is, but putting it into practice, when emotions are high, not so easy.
Tell me about it. So empathy means really stepping outside myself, seeing their side.
even if you don't agree. And when we mess up,
Because we all do.
a sincere apology can be incredibly powerful.
It's taking responsibility, not just a quick sorry.
Right, acknowledging the impact on your partner. And, apologizing itself can actually strengthen your emotional intelligence.
Really? I never thought about it that way. So it's not just about fixing things in the moment,
It's about building that empathy muscle.
for the long haul.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one. I have a feeling this is my Achilles heel. Accepting your partner's perspective.
Ah, yes. Sometimes during an argument, it feels impossible to see their side.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
But you're saying acceptance doesn't equal agreement.
Exactly. You don't have to agree to acknowledge their right to their viewpoint.
So even if I think they're way off base, I can still try to understand where they're coming from.
Precisely. And that validation can de-escalate a conflict, create space for productive dialogue.
It's just as I value their perspective,
Yes.
even if it's different from mine. And last but not least, humor.
Yeah.
We touched on this, but why is it so vital?
Laughter connects us. It releases those feel-good endorphins, reduces stress, creates
Yeah.
intimacy.
Shared joy.
Think about those inside jokes you share. It strengthens your bond, creates positive memories to draw on during tough times.
It's like a secret language, a way to connect and laugh even when things are tough. Reminds us there's still joy, even amidst challenges.
Exactly. And it's such a powerful antidote to negativity. When you can laugh together, it often signals deep comfort and connection, being yourselves, quirks and all, and still feeling loved.
So much covered already. 8 ways to boost positive interactions and create a solid foundation. It's not just about grand gestures.
It's about showing up in those everyday moments.
Connection, appreciation.
It seems like we've only just scratched the surface.
We have.
Yeah.
But in our next part, we'll delve even deeper into the real-life application of this 5.1 ratio.
I'm looking forward to it.
As we were talking about those 80 interactions, something hit me.
Oh, what's that?
It's not just about adding more good stuff, is it?
Interesting.
It's like these actions can actually change how partners interact.
You're right. It transforms the whole dynamic. Like showing interest, it's more than just listening. It's moving away from me versus you. We're in this together.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're a team facing challenges together and expressing affection during an argument. That seems counterintuitive.
But it can completely change the game. Imagine you're arguing, emotions are high, and suddenly your partner makes you laugh.
Or they do something sweet.
Exactly. It's like hitting a reset button, reminding you it's not a battle.
It's a bump in the road for two people who still care.
Exactly. It's like saying, hey, we disagree, but I'm here for you.
Which then makes it easier to really listen.
Absolutely. When we feel safe and loved, we can let our guard down. We're open to understanding. And that's where empathy and apologies come in.
And those small gestures. It's like making deposits in that emotional bank account.
Building up goodwill, a foundation of positive feelings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A cushion for when those conflicts inevitably arise.
It's about weaving appreciation into the very fabric of your relationship.
This all makes sense in theory, but what about in real life? What if my partner isn't exactly the most positive person?
It's a great question. It's not about forcing your partner to change overnight.
More about.
You taking the initiative, setting a new standard, even if it feels like you're doing all the work at first.
So even if my partner isn't reciprocating, my actions can still have a positive effect.
Absolutely. Actions speak louder than words, right?
Yeah.
When you consistently show interest, affection, apologize sincerely, it creates a ripple effect.
It's like setting a new tone for the whole relationship based on respect, empathy, positivity.
Beautifully put. You're inviting change, not demanding it. And you might be surprised by the results.
How so?
Even the most resistant partner might start mirroring those behaviors because it feels good to receive that love and respect.
It's like a positive feedback loop. Kindness breeds kindness. Now, we've talked about the positive interactions, but what about the negative ones? Are they all created equal?
That's a great point. The 5.1 ratio emphasizes the overall balance, but the type of negative interaction matters.
So a sarcastic comment isn't the same as, say, a hurtful criticism.
Exactly. A harsh criticism, especially if it's disrespectful, will have a much bigger impact. It's not just about the numbers.
It's about the emotional weight, quality over quantity.
Precisely. And those 8 positive interactions can be antidotes to negativity. If you've had a fight, a sincere apology and a gesture of affection can help.
Repair the damage. Restore connection.
It's like emotional first aid.
Acknowledge the wound, clean it, start the healing. And just like with physical first aid, early intervention is key.
You got it. The longer those negative feelings fester, the harder it is to heal. Resentment builds, and that can be toxic.
So we need to be proactive.
Absolutely. Cultivate those positive connections, strengthen the relationship.
So this 5.1 ratio isn't a magic solution.
It's more of a roadmap, a guide for creating a happy and fulfilling partnership. It requires effort, intention, commitment.
Choosing to love each other even when it's challenging.
Beautifully said. And celebrating the joy and connection along the way.
We've talked a lot about the positive interactions in the ratio.
Oh,
But what about the root causes of those negative interactions?
unresolved conflicts, communication breakdowns. You're right, addressing those is essential.
Sometimes those issues might be too complex to handle on our own.
And that's where a therapist can help. It's not a weakness to seek guidance.
It's a sign of strength, a commitment to working through things together.
Like going to the doctor for a checkup.
Sometimes we need a professional to diagnose and treat those emotional issues, and early intervention can make all the difference.
I agree. A therapist can provide a safe space to explore those deeper issues, develop healthier communication, learn how to navigate conflict effectively.
It's an investment in your relationship. As we're talking, I keep thinking about how this ratio isn't a magic bullet.
True. It's a powerful reminder that relationships take work, dedication, a willingness to grow together.
So it's a guide, a tool, not a guarantee.
It's about shifting your focus from keeping score to being more present and intentional.
More attuned to our partner's emotions, noticing those moments of connection, choosing to cultivate positivity and love.
Beautifully said. And remember, those positive interactions are about quality too. A genuine expression of love, a heartfelt apology, or really listening will always outweigh 5 empty gestures.
It's about putting your heart into it, not just going through the motions, creating a culture of love and appreciation, not just checking boxes.
Exactly. When we approach our relationships with that intention and care, the 5.1 ratio happens naturally. It becomes an expression of love and respect.
It's about shifting our mindset from obligation to opportunity, from keeping score to creating magic.
I love that. Seeing each interaction as a chance to deepen our connection, to express our love, to build a more fulfilling relationship.
We've covered so much. The research, practical tips, the emotional side of the ratio, but there's more, isn't there?
There is. In our final segment, we'll explore the broader implications of this ratio. Not just romantic relationships, but friendships, families, even the workplace.
Because this need for positive connection goes beyond romance.
It does. It's a fundamental part of being human.
It's amazing how this 5.1 ratio seems to go beyond just romantic relationships.
It really does, doesn't it? It makes you think about how much we all need those positive connections.
You mentioned friendships earlier. How does this ratio fit in there?
Well, think about what makes a strong friendship work. Laughter, support, celebrating each other's wins, being there during tough times.
Those are all positive interactions, aren't they?
Exactly. They're deposits in that friendship bank account.
When I think about my close friends, we definitely have way more positive moments than negative ones.
And those positive moments, they build trust, loyalty, affection.
All the ingredients for a long-lasting friendship.
Exactly.
So it's bigger than just romantic love. It's about how we connect with people in general.
I like how you put that. And it makes you wonder if this applies to families too.
Families?
They can be complicated, right? Lots of love, history, sometimes unresolved issues.
Yeah, families can definitely push your buttons like no one else.
But even with those tricky family members, focusing on the positive could help.
Really?
It might not erase all the bad stuff, but it can change the dynamic for the better.
How so?
What if we made a conscious effort to appreciate each other more? Offer support, find common ground, maybe even bring in some humor.
So we're focusing on the good, even when it's tough.
Yes, being intentional about where we put our energy, and you never know, it might have a ripple effect.
Making things more harmonious for everyone.
Exactly.
This is making me rethink all my relationships and how I can be better at nurturing them.
And here's something even more interesting. This 5.1 ratio, it even works in the workplace.
The workplace?
Right.
Really? I can't imagine my boss giving me 5 compliments for every criticism.
Maybe not exactly like that. But think about the principles. Positive reinforcement, clear communication, a supportive environment.
Those all lead to happier employees, better work, and a stronger team.
Exactly. So instead of focusing on what people do wrong, we acknowledge what they do well. We celebrate successes and encourage collaboration and respect.
So everyone wins. Employees feel valued, and the company does better.
It's a win-win.
Wow, we've gone from romantic relationships to families to work,
Mm.
and it all comes back to this one simple ratio.
It's a powerful concept, isn't it? It shows how much we all thrive when there's more positivity than negativity. It's about creating those safe spaces, supporting each other, and truly connecting no matter where we are.
So for our listeners, what's the main takeaway from our deep dive into this 5.1 ratio?
It's a call to action, a challenge to be more mindful of how we interact with everyone in our lives. Partners, friends, family, colleagues, we all have the power to make things more positive.
It's about those small acts of kindness, appreciation, and humor. They can make a real difference.
Exactly. It all starts with that 5.1 ratio, 5 positive interactions for every negative one. It's a simple idea, but it can change everything.
This has been such a great conversation. Thank you for helping us understand this powerful concept.
It's been my pleasure. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about making progress. Every step towards more positive interactions matters.
So as we wrap up this episode, here's something to think about. Pick one relationship in your life and ask yourself, how can I use this 5.1 ratio today? How can I create more positive moments and make that bond stronger? It's a simple question, but it can lead to some amazing changes. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep spreading those good vibes.